Laurel Inn was old but well kept. Soft chandeliers reflected the polished wood of the front desk. Carpets muffled footsteps, and the air smelled faintly of dust and old pages. Everything was ordinary, until he showed up. The night manager, Mary Holloway, spotted him around midnight. A tall man in a black coat, he walked into the lobby quietly without attracting attention. He didn't look around, didn't ask about rooms. He simply handed over his passport and said 306. She nodded, entered the details into the system, and handed over her key card. That was it, the usual procedure. But later, as she scrolled through the guest list, something stopped her in her tracks. His name was missing. No last name, no passport, no credit card information. It was as if he'd never checked in. But 306 was occupied. The cameras caught him walking up the stairs and out the door. Only there was no record of him. As if he had never been there. As if he had always been there. Mary tried to convince herself that it was just a glitch in the system. But the next night, the complaints began. The guests from room 305 arrived first. "Excuse me, but can you tell the neighbor from 306 to keep his voice down?" The middle-aged man said tiredly. "He's been talking all night." "With whom?" Mary asked. The guest frowned. "I don't know, but sometimes it seems like he's not alone." Then the tenants from the other end of the hall complained. "We heard him pacing back and forth, like he was arguing with someone. Maybe he has the TV on." The woman shook her head. At some point he stopped talking, but someone answered him. Her husband agreed. And it wasn't his voice. Mary checked the call log. There had been no calls from room 306. The phone was not in use. But the cameras in the hallway showed a light from under the door at night, and a shadow that wasn't alone. As if there were two people in the room, but she knew for sure that the guest had checked in alone, and that he shouldn't have been here at all. On the fourth night, it was quiet. No one complained anymore. There were no voices coming from room 306, no footsteps, no one walking down the hall. It was even stranger than his presence. In the morning, Mary went upstairs with the housekeeper on duty to check the room. She knocked. Silence. She tried the key card. The door wouldn't open, as if some force was holding it from the inside. But then a click. The door swung open on its own. The room was empty, a clean bed, no luggage, no traces, as if no one had lived here. But the air was cold, as if the window had been open all night. And on the walls, there were words on the walls, scratched with fingernails. He was not alone. They were waiting for me. Now they are waiting for someone else. Mary stepped back, feeling her throat tighten. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw a mirror in the corner of the room, and there, in the reflection, stood a silhouette. Thin, tall, in a black coat. But when she turned around, the room was empty. Only door 306 remained ajar, waiting for the next guest.